Today, we're diving into one of the boldest and most daring military operations of recent months, Ukraine's powerful strike on the Crimean Bridge, also known as the Kerch Bridge. This attack has once again shaken the symbolic and strategic heart of Russia's control over Crimea, leaving the world watching closely as the bridge lies in ruins. The Kerch Bridge isn't just any bridge. Stretching nearly 19 kilometers, it links mainland Russia with the Crimean Peninsula. Completed in 2018 under Vladimir Putin's direction, it has long stood as both a symbol of Russian dominance and a vital supply artery for its military operations in southern Ukraine. For Russia, this bridge was not just about transport. It was about claiming permanence, a way of saying Crimea is theirs forever. But for Ukraine, that same bridge represents occupation, oppression, and illegitimacy. From the moment it opened, Ukraine viewed it as an illegal structure built on stolen land. So when reports surfaced that powerful explosions had rocked the bridge early one June morning, it wasn't just an attack on concrete and steel. It was a message to Moscow. According to Ukrainian officials, the Security Service of Ukraine, or SBU, carried out this operation using underwater explosives. Roughly 1,100 kilograms of explosives were reportedly detonated beneath the waterline, targeting the bridge's support pillars. The explosions caused massive structural damage, collapsing sections of the bridge and halting all traffic across it. This operation wasn't spontaneous. Ukrainian sources say it had been planned meticulously for months. The focus was precision, to inflict damage on the bridge's military utility while avoiding civilian casualties. By carrying out the strike in the early hours of the morning, Ukraine ensured minimal risk to civilian lives while maximizing the impact on Russian logistics. From a military standpoint, the timing of this strike is significant. The bridge serves as one of Russia's main supply routes for moving troops, fuel, ammunition, and heavy equipment from Russia into occupied Crimea and onward to the southern front lines. By crippling this route, Ukraine aims to choke off vital supply lines that feed Russia's war machine. Even partial disruption can create serious logistical headaches for Moscow. Beyond the strategic advantage, the psychological and symbolic weight of this strike cannot be overstated. For Ukraine, hitting the Crimean Bridge is a statement that Crimea is not beyond reach, that Ukrainian resistance can strike deep inside what Russia considers its secured territories. It reinforces a powerful narrative. The war is not confined to the trenches. It extends to the very structures that prop up the occupation. For Russia, however, this attack is a major embarrassment. The Crimean Bridge was one of Putin's most prized projects. He personally drove a truck across it during its grand opening ceremony, symbolizing Russia's claim over Crimea. Each time it's attacked, it strikes not just at infrastructure but at the image of control and stability Russia tries to project. In response, Russian state media initially downplayed the scale of the damage. They claimed the explosions caused only minor structural issues and that traffic was quickly restored. But satellite images and footage released by Ukraine's SBU told a different story. Large portions of the bridge collapsed, with twisted steel and broken asphalt visible. Russian authorities later admitted that repairs would take months, if not longer. This isn't the first time Ukraine has targeted the bridge. The first major strike happened in October 2022 when a truck bomb exploded on the road section, igniting fuel tanks on a passing train. Then in July 2023, Ukraine used naval drones to damage the bridge again. But this latest attack is different. It's far more sophisticated. Underwater demolition requires advanced planning, coordination, and intelligence. It shows how much Ukraine's special operations capabilities have evolved throughout the war. Experts suggest this latest damage could be more severe than previous strikes. Unlike the road surface, which can be patched or replaced, the underwater supports are complex and critical to the bridge's stability. If they're compromised, repairs could take a very long time, and even then, structural integrity might never be fully restored. In the days following the strike, traffic between Crimea and mainland Russia slowed to a crawl. Long queues of vehicles formed as Russian authorities tried to reroute supplies using ferries and smaller ports. This disruption impacts not only the military but also civilians living in Crimea, who rely on the bridge for food, fuel, and everyday goods. For Ukraine, the message is clear. No Russian target is untouchable. The attack showcases their intelligence and innovation, reinforcing to the world that despite ongoing challenges, Ukraine maintains initiative and capability. It also serves as a morale booster for Ukrainians who have endured relentless bombardments and occupation. Meanwhile, Russia faces growing frustration at home. The bridge has now been attacked multiple times, each instance revealing vulnerabilities in Russian defense systems. It raises questions among ordinary Russians about their government's ability to protect what was supposed to be one of its most secure and significant assets. The geopolitical implications are just as important. Each successful Ukrainian strike deep inside Russian-held territory pressures Moscow to divert resources toward defense and repair instead of offense. Every missile, drone, or sabotage mission forces Russia to rethink its strategy and stretch its logistics further. For Western allies supporting Ukraine, this operation serves as proof that their military aid and training are making a difference. Ukraine's use of sophisticated tactics, surveillance, and covert underwater weaponry signals a new level of proficiency. It strengthens the argument for continued support, especially as the war grinds on into another year. On the other hand, Russia's propaganda machine has been working overtime to frame the event differently. Russian media claim that the attack was an act of terrorism, blaming Ukraine and the West for provoking escalation, but internationally, few are buying that narrative. Most analysts agree that military infrastructure, like the Crimean Bridge, is a legitimate target, given its direct role in sustaining Russia's invasion. As we analyze this strike, it's important to understand the deeper layers of its impact. The war between Russia and Ukraine has always been about territory, but also about identity, sovereignty, and legitimacy. The Crimean Bridge, built to cement Russia's claim, has now become a symbol of resistance. Every attack on it is a reminder that occupation does not mean acceptance. In the coming weeks, the world will be watching closely how Russia responds. Will it retaliate with more missile strikes on Ukrainian cities? Will it tighten its grip on Crimea? Or will it focus on repairing the bridge? Each of these choices carries costs and consequences. What's clear is that Ukraine has succeeded in keeping Russia off balance and demonstrating that even heavily fortified targets can fall. For people living in Crimea, the reality is becoming more uncertain. The repeated strikes have shaken confidence in the peninsula's security. Many residents who once felt insulated from the war are now realizing how close it truly is. Each explosion echoes the instability that occupation brings, and the once boasted unbreakable link between Russia and Crimea now feels fragile. In a broader sense, this strike highlights how warfare has evolved. Traditional front lines are no longer the only battlegrounds. Covert operations, cyber warfare, drone strikes, and precision sabotage are redefining what modern conflict looks like. Ukraine's latest operation is part of that evolution, precise, targeted, and deeply symbolic. The world's reaction to this strike has been mixed but largely supportive of Ukraine's right to defend itself. Many Western leaders reiterated that Crimea remains part of Ukraine under international law, and that any military infrastructure aiding the occupation is a legitimate target. Meanwhile, in Moscow, officials condemned the attack but offered few details on how they plan to secure the bridge in the future. As days pass, satellite images continue to show the extent of the damage. The once pristine and proud bridge now bears visible scars. The rail lines and road sections have been torn apart, and repair crews struggle to assess the underwater foundations. For Ukraine, that image is a symbol of defiance, proof that the occupier's grip can be broken. It's worth noting that this strike didn't happen in isolation. It's part of a broader Ukrainian effort to target supply lines, ammunition depots, and command centers deep behind Russian lines. By stretching Russia's logistics and forcing it to defend a wide range of assets, Ukraine keeps the enemy reacting rather than acting. Strategically, this approach is sound. Instead of frontal assaults on heavily fortified positions, Ukraine is using precision strikes to weaken the backbone of Russia's war effort. Destroying infrastructure forces the enemy to slow down, expend resources, and lose cohesion. The Crimean Bridge is the crown jewel of that effort. Looking ahead, it's uncertain whether Ukraine will strike the bridge again. But one thing is certain: every time Russia repairs it, Ukraine learns, adapts, and finds new ways to reach it. That relentless adaptability is what keeps this conflict dynamic and unpredictable. For Russia, maintaining control of Crimea without a stable supply link becomes increasingly difficult. Ferry routes are slower and riskier, especially under threat of naval drones and airstrikes. Over time, logistical strain could weaken Russia's military presence on the peninsula, potentially setting the stage for future Ukrainian operations to liberate Crimea. At its core, This strike isn't just about a bridge. It's about momentum. It's about showing the world that Ukraine refuses to bow, that innovation and courage can stand up to a larger, better-equipped adversary. The message resonates far beyond the battlefield. Aggression will meet resistance, and occupation will never mean victory. So as we wrap up this deep dive, one thing stands clear. The Crimean Bridge, once hailed as a triumph of Russian engineering and power, now stands as a crumbling reminder that nothing built on aggression lasts forever. Ukraine's bold strike has sent a shockwave through Moscow, inspired its allies, and reminded the world of the resilience of a nation fighting for its freedom. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you want more in-depth updates on major developments from around the world. Ukraine's strike on the Crimean Bridge may just be one event, but its impact will echo through the course of this war for months, perhaps even years to come.